Hello guys, and welcome back to Everything Tumbler Tutorial with Creative Vinyl Designs. Today we're going to be recreating this cup. I did a stencil 30-ounce water slide after having taped off the top and the bottom. Prepped the cup and painted it white. This is the stencil that I'm going to use. You can see I'm running out of ink. I've been doing a lot of canvases and back-to-back tutorials today, so I am low on ink, but that's okay. This is just going to be a stencil guide for my glitter. I did already trim it off, but I wanted to show you. Usually I throw these away and I don't show you, but I wanted to show you the amount of trimming that is actually going into this once the image has been printed and sealed with the clear seal and the Plasti Dip that I will seal each and every single one of my very large images that I'm going to apply either on a canvas and or a 20 or 30 ounce. Okay, so the colors in which I'm going to use, I'm jumping ahead here really quickly, but I just want to go over the glitter colors that I did use for the other cup. I'm going to do the exact same method using Cinderella, Obsidian, Fresh Water, Mirror, Pirate Booty, Gunmetal, and Cherry. So all of these colors are going to correspond with the image that I've since printed out. Again, not being concerned about where my colors are obviously running low, or I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure I'm low on ink, but at any rate, that's going to be covered up. This is just going to be for a stencil purpose only. So let's go ahead and set everything aside. We're not going to need that for a minute because obviously we're going to need this to dry before we can start applying glitter, which would be a Mod Podge method. So as with any other water slide, we're just going to put it right into the water. This is regular cold tap water. This is nothing fancy. This is not warm of any kind. If you've watched any of my tutorials previously, I always put the image face down into my container of water so that I don't have to worry about it rolling. So I just leave it face down for just a few minutes, giving a little push here and there, not playing with it too much. Wet the cup, which you can see has already been painted, and I taped off the top and the bottom. So this is going to be stainless steel. I may or may not glitter where the tape is once I remove the tape. So this demonstration is going to be a 30-ounce. This is a 30-ounce blank, and I will post the link in which I have recently started purchasing my tumblers from a local dealer. So I'm very, very excited about that, and I will be more than happy to share this link below. They look identical to Hogs. They work just as well as Hogs, but since he's local and sometimes I don't have time to wait for shipping, I'm able to purchase and go pick them up. So it's very, very convenient. So just give that just a minute more and we'll get ready to apply this onto the tumbler. Okay, let's see if we're ready. Now, because this is an abstract image, it doesn't really matter how I choose to apply this to the cup. Whether it's one direction or the other, it really doesn't matter. So we're just going to slide this off and start applying it to the cup. It does not matter where you start. Now, I don't know if I stated this already, but I did seal this 3 times. With clear and as well with Plasti Dip, because we need the Plasti Dip to allow the pull and the stretching that's going to occur. And of course the seal, as you guys probably already know, is just to keep the inks from bleeding, which we have a little bit of a bleed. I'm hoping it's not because of our weather. Our weather is like crazy the last couple of days here in Florida. So we have a lot of rain in these last couple of days. Of course, it would be right before Christmas, but we're just going to make this work because, again, I'm not worried about the bleed in this particular water slide case because this is just going to be my stencil. So I'm just kind of pulling towards the top, more or less, not so much the bottom, because the bottom is, as you know, with the 30 ounce modern curves, it doesn't matter. The bottom is smaller than the top. So our main focus is the top of the cup. But as well as doing so, we're wanting to make sure that, you know, we're trying to keep the wrinkles out. So I'm just holding with my left hand and gently trying to pull with my right. Now, these images do not get distorted because I usually print, which this image I did purchase off of a website called unsplash.com. And you can get a whole bunch of free images. This abstract image was one of those images that I did but I did get for free. And so there's not going to be any distortion because of the fact that the image is so large. It's like a wallpaper background image. So it's very big. I don't know the exact precise size, but anything that's wallpaper size is a much better fit for this type of situation, for what we're trying to achieve here. And as I'm trying to get this to match up with this, I'm also trying to make sure that my image stays above the tape, because I'm going to cut that off and you'll see soon how that's going to happen. So as I'm trying to pull it around, I want to make sure I'm keeping the wrinkles out. I want to make sure that I'm keeping this aligned properly. And we just want this to line up the best way we can. And I'm just going to keep pushing this up. I want this up above the tape. That's very important. Now, when I trim off, as you can see, that little bubble was about to fight me there for a second. But once I trim off the top and the bottom, that will not be a concern because it'll give me a chance to get those last few teeny bubbles out. So I don't really worry too much about it, but I do try to get out as many as I can. So we're all the way to the back. It's overlapped exactly how I want it to be because this is kind of tricky. And then you'll see after this cup dries, I will come back and I'll show you how we're going to trim the top and the bottom and then right down the side. But for now, I have it where I want it if it stays, which is fantastic if it stays because I just want to keep this creeping up above the tape. Now, because this is only going to be used as a stencil and stencil purpose only, I am not at all really stressing too much because when I go to put my Mod Podge on this tumbler, I can always sneak up. But if this is the image that I was going to use and keep on this cup, clearly I would not want that to be the case. I would want to make sure it stays, hopefully you can see it would stay right above your tape line. And in this particular case, this could not have gone on any better. I'm up at the rim. I'm below the bottom. I'm going to cut that off. I can trim that. Our backing right here, this, because I taped the top, this split that's happening right there doesn't necessarily matter because you won't see it because technically it'll start right here just below the tape and work all the way down. But I don't want to play with this too much. It actually, I mean, this couldn't have gone on any better. This could not have gone on any better. The air pockets that you see are happening right here, not a big deal. Again, because we can pop that with the X-Acto knife if it becomes an issue. I just don't want to rub too much. But again, I can pop those with the X-Acto knife and I'm going to use the colors that I showed you in the beginning. This is my stencil so that we can achieve this same look. I was going to use different colors, but I really like this color combination, this abstract appearance so well, I figured we're going to do it again. So that's the plan for this cup too. So there you see, 30-ounce water slide, 30-ounce tumbler blank with a 1 sheet full water slide. So we're going to take a break. I'm going to let this dry. There's no reason for me to manhandle this any more than, well, than I have. It couldn't have went on any better, guys. This was a perfect example as to how quickly and how well water slides, full sheet water slides, should go on a tumbler. All right, so let's let this dry and we'll be back and I can demonstrate how we're going to trim this up. Okay guys, welcome back. So I waited about 10 to 12 minutes and I think we might be ready to go ahead and trim this off. It might still be a little more wet than I would like, but we're going to be really, really careful and take our time doing this cut. And we're just going to go along the bottom rim where I've already taped off and then again at the top. So let's go ahead and start there. Again, you want to be really careful during this step and I do hope you guys can see, but we're just going to trim this very, very gently. And you can see it pulls a little bit. I'm not worried about it pulling at the bottom, mostly around the top, in which what we want to keep. So we're just going to trim all the way around. All right, let's see where our end is. Oh, that's the underneath, but that's okay as long as it comes together. There we go. See how wet that still is? That's okay as long as we're really careful. And then just take that bottom off. And now you see there's a little bit of air pockets. So if this was an image that we were not going to use as a stencil, you really want to make sure you get all those out. You'd want a flawless seam just like that. And the bubbles, see, now we can just kind of work them out. I've noticed doing this doesn't really work, but you know, if you just work it down, kind of like a rolling method with your finger, just roll just like that, and the bubbles just creep right down the bottom. Just like that. All right, so let's do the top. And our guide here is the tape. So we want to be more careful than if we were at the bottom, because the bottom has that little groove and you can get your X-Acto knife right in there. But this is simply a piece of tape and it's not very thick. See, and I might have come down too low. So I don't want to talk, let alone breathe when I'm cutting this. Just take your time. Okay. And then just lift this up and pull. See how I went down too low? Now naturally, if this was an image in which we didn't want that to happen, since I'm going to glitter it, I'm not that worried because I can bring the glitter up and cover that. But if this was definitely going to be an image in which you were not planning on glittering, you'd want to be very, very careful when pulling this, okay? Now, I might have some play to where I can move it up, but at this point, it's pretty dry, but you still have a little play, which, see, that just went, oh, that's perfect. That just went up. I'm just trying to manipulate that towards the top of the tape. It's in the drying process right now, so we really want to be careful that we're really gentle because at this point it could tear. And then unfortunately you would have to start completely over. I just want to get that little bit off. All right, so let's peel the tape off the bottom first. So when I prepped this cup, I obviously didn't sand all the way to the bottom, which is actually, I think I sanded and prepped after I taped it off so that if I wanted to leave this stainless steel at the bottom, unlike the first one, I had that option. Whereas when I pulled the tape off that first cup, I didn't, I had sanded the whole thing through and through. So unfortunately, with the sand marks, I did have to glitter it because otherwise that would have been tacky. So now we're just going to peel from the top. That was a little more difficult. I forgot to leave myself a tail. But we're just going to pull very gently. Now you can still see where the cup was painted white. Now usually if you have a little bit of a play, just like that, you see I can just move it very gently towards the top. And then we can clean that up with the X-Acto knife later. And that's to say that we did want to go ahead and leave this stainless steel. You would definitely want to clean up your rim. And just scraping the paint off is not a big deal. Okay, so our top and our bottom has now been removed. So how I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do the seam. So I just take off a little piece of painter's tape. Since I don't usually have extra hands when I'm in here doing my crafting crafting and tutorials, I just usually just take a piece of tape and let it basically hold for me. And I just tape on the inside of the cup if I've lined it up correctly, which I need to slide it over just a hair. Just want to line it right up with that seam to where you're going to cut. It's the only guide I have. I don't have any fancy tools, guys. Tape, my hands, and the X-Acto knife, and I'm literally just trying to get this piece of measuring tape right along where the two overlap right here and go down the center as straight as I can. And then once you have that lined up, you can take another piece of tape and put it at the bottom. Or if you trust yourself, that's not necessary. I'm not a big fan of trusting myself because you might slip by accident. So I just like to put another piece right straight at the bottom. So it just holds it in place. So then I can just hold my hands right here or however I'm going to do so and just guide the X-Acto knife straight down the center. And this, you definitely want to be slow and steady. Do not be in a rush to do this. And just stay right along, giving some pressure right along the measuring tape and going straight down. Okay. Then you want to come over here and lift the layer that was above, that overlapped. You just want to lift that up and peel it off. Just peel it away. And as you can see now, there's a small gap, and just you can gently push the two ends together very, very gently. It's still wet underneath just a little bit, but enough to maneuver it. Now we want to come over here and just lift this piece up. Very, very gently. You want to make sure that you're leaving, see how it's white? They're connected, and we want to separate. That can be tricky. If I can get these two to separate. I'm just going to go ahead and pull this back. And I'm just going to go right here. Really, 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 really gentle. And I'm just going to pull it off itself. Okay, right up the top. Now I still have my water just in case I need it. See, to smooth this out. Oh, might not need it. Okay. If you wait too long, it can be tricky, guys. You just don't really want to wait too long. Okay. A little bit of a bleed there, it looks like, from the overlap, but that's okay. Now, if this was the image, as I stated earlier, that I wanted to use, if this was the image that I was going to leave as is on this cup, I would not be happy with this discoloration from the yellow, and I would not be okay with that. Hope you can see that. But since this was stencil purposes only, and it was also a demonstration for a 30-ounce modern curve full sheet water slide, I'm okay with it because, again, all of these sections are going to be covered in corresponding glitters, and it's going to be amazing. Okay, so we're going to let this dry. Okay, and I'm going to clean up, probably off camera, I'm going to clean up the rim, which is not a big deal. That's very simple to do. Any air pockets that might still be remaining, you can just kind of, at this point, it's pretty solid. So I can just literally rub my hands along it. Not a big deal. Okay. All right, so the third and final step for this project is going to be Mod Podge and Glitter. Probably 2 coats. The first tumbler took me 2 coats each. So I had done all the glitter once, and then I can't remember if I sealed it or not. I think I did. I feel more comfortable having sealed, and then I can just go back over. That way none of my glitters mix. I obviously will do one color all the way through, come back and do another color all the way through. Once the whole thing is completed, I will then seal it, give it some time to dry, and then I'll recoat it. Seal it again, and it's ready for epoxy. Okay guys, until then, when we can wrap this video up, I'll show you the start of the Mod Podge method, more than likely, and then we'll come back when she's a finished product. Thanks for tuning in on this 30-ounce Modern Curve full sheet water slide tutorial. Okay guys, welcome back. We are now officially dry. I don't know how long it's actually been, but it's dry. It's not 100% cleaned up, but I can always get to that. But overall, I'm very, very happy with how this turned out. So now we're going to move on to the Mod Podge. This is the color in which, or the Mod Podge that I'm going to use, which you can get at Michael's, Walmart, online, very, very accessible. And once again, we're going to go over the glitters, and I have Cinderella, which is a holographic, Pirate Booty, which is a holographic, Fresh Water, Cherry, Mirror, if I decide to do the top and the bottom like I did on my other one, Gunmetal, and Obsidian, which is also a holographic. None of which the holographics I chose to do for this design. I literally just use it. This is Cinderella. This is the Gunmetal. Well, this is Pirate Booty and Obsidian, but I did not use for this method the holographic effect. I just used it as regular glitter, which worked really, really well. So if I decide to do the top and the bottom, this is Mirror, and I haven't quite decided if that's what I'm going to do yet. So we're just literally going to jump right into the Mod Podge. Let's see, I think I'm going to go with the Pirate Booty first, since this is upsetting, this color difference, but it's okay. It's not going to affect, and you'll see. So we're just going to apply the Mod Podge. You want to take your time on the lines because you want to make sure that your lines stay nice and crisp, which is going to give us this incredibly awesome abstract look. Now the first one did take me 2 coats, which I'm pretty sure I stated. So this one might as well, more than likely. And that's okay, because we'll do 2 coats, but in between the coats, we'll seal it. And that helps us when applying the next coat of glitter. It won't be so touch and go. I don't know if any of you have tried to apply glitter over a layer that wasn't sealed, but it's kind of tricky. If you can get away without doing a second coat, that is fantastic. You'll save a lot of time. That first cup did take me quite a few hours to do. But again, most of that was because of the glitter time frame, not anything else. I'm gonna slide that over. I should have had this open already. And then we're just gonna dump this in that section that we just did Mod Podge. So, oh, let me go grab a little, I guess I can use this one very gently. This one does not have Mod Podge over it yet. So I went this route because with the stencil, as well as the water slide as my stencil, because this would have been a ridiculous chore to have to tape off to make this abstract appearance that I wanted to do so bad. And so that's it. That's the first coat. And normally I have a much smoother, softer brush. This is very, kind of a hard bristle brush. But normally I have a smoother one and I can just literally just wipe off the excess. But there's that for now. And then so wherever I have yellow, I'm going to do the Pirate Booty Gold. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our next section, which is right here. Let me just move this over. Okay. Same exact thing. You just wipe off the excess glitter. Just like that. So now we have two sections, and this is great because this color is very dark. So this section technically doesn't require another coat, but since I do a coat on some of them, I feel like it doesn't make sense. It's not even. So I don't know if it's OCD or something strange going on there, but I feel like I have to do them all, even though I probably don't. So we have one more section that I'll do on camera, because there's no reason to watch me do them all. But just to show you the start. And I do not make this very thick. There's no reason to make this thick, especially if some of your colors are gonna need another coat. I say some, but all, because I will do all. But I just do a very thin coat, because you don't want your glitter to be lumpy and bumpy underneath. So you want to make sure this is nice and smoothed out. And where these two colors are very similar, I think it was, again, my ink. These are both supposed to be white, but this looks like an off-white versus a white. And I doubt the camera's going to pick that up. I'm not really sure. Same with my two reds here. I will use different colors so that these two are not back to back and lapping like that. I definitely will choose another color so that they're not touching. And then you just go all the way around and just get this on there. Once you get the water slide on, this part is simple. And to get this design, there was no way I was going to tape off this cup. This would have not taken hours. This would have ended up taking days. And if you get a little on, like down here as I did, that's okay, because we can easily fix that when we add our other colors, and you can touch up your lines. Yeah, this is not the ideal brush, but it's working because we can easily wipe this off. We can brush this off before we get going, obviously before we put any more colors on here. I'll make sure those other colors, you know, it's wiped off nice and clean. And I'll save this little tiny one for off cam. But as you get the idea as how this was done, this was literally just used, this 30-ounce water slide was just used as a stencil guide so that I can make these abstract shapes, which is so unique and so different. And I cannot wait to make another one, but different. Not necessarily the colors, but just in general, the abstract design. See what other things we can do, because this is like endless. Absolutely stunning and totally different than anything that I've ever seen. And I'm actually really liking the stainless steel look versus the top and bottoms that I glittered on this one. So what I'm going to do is do the exact same thing on this one as I did on this one. Okay, so with that being said, might go ahead and sum up this tutorial, but I want to state before I finalize, all of these will be glittered, okay, sealing it, and if I need another coat of glitter, I will then apply another coat of glitter. I will reseal it, and then it's ready for epoxy once it's dry. It's literally that simple, and it's absolutely stunning. I mean, if you really felt froggy, I mean, I think it would be fun, even if there was glitter only in certain sections and then leaving the other sections open. I mean, that is quite doable. I mean, the ideas are absolutely insane, and they are completely endless. So here's the final product one more time. I want to thank you guys for joining me with Everything Tumbler Tutorials with Creative Vinyl Designs, and we'll see you next time.